Hello and welcome to Navigating the Chapters of Challenge with Tele. Today I've got my friend in the house, Shola Alabi. She's an author, she's a business owner, she's a travelpreneur extraordinaire, she's a director. She's going to tell you a lot about herself. And yeah, I'm excited for today's episode. So I'm just going to ask Shola to quickly introduce herself and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you very much, Sis, for having me on this evening. My name is Shola, as Telly has rightly said. I am a woman of many hats, but I'm just going to keep it brief tonight. I am a wife to one, a mom to two young adults. Professionally, I am a qualified teacher. I've been in the private tuition business for about 2 decades now, but in about 13 months ago, I ventured into another business, which is in the travel industry. And I'm going to be talking a bit about that. Well, actually, not a bit. I'm going to be talking about that today because there are lessons that have been learned over the year or the 13 months, which I'd really want to share today. So I'd want to say thank you so much, Telly, for having me on.
Okay, thank you so much. So as you've heard, she has many hats and she wears it on her bright red hair. Though you can't see it right now, but yes, she is an inspiration to me. I've known her for a few years and she's a real inspiration. And she's going to tell us a story really about how she got to where she is today, the trials, the tribulations, and the victories on the way. Shola, over to you. And we'll ask you questions wherever we feel like.
Okay, Thank you so much. Actually, Telly and I we come a long way. I remember that Telly was the woman behind my first book. So yeah, I am an author as well. I keep forgetting that. So in 2023, actually just after COVID, I began to feel the need to do something different. I'd been in the private tuition business for about 2 decades now, or just about 21 years. And that's all I've known. I'm a teacher, been in the teaching space for that long, worked with numerous children. I'm one who actually calls them my many children. I love children. So what happened was during COVID, we all went into lockdown. And at that time, it was a test because what we knew and we'd done for years, everything more or less fell down flat. So we had to transition into the online world. A number of students did, some didn't, but I'm grateful to God because He actually made all things work together for our good. So at that time, venturing into the online world, He opened my eyes into so many other opportunities, and travel was one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So along the way, I'm sure you must have had some ups and downs. So how did you navigate the difficult situations, especially with COVID? What made you say, okay, you know what, let me look into something else? Why did you take that step to look into something else online?
We were all indoors. We couldn't go out. I guess during the time, it was a situation of getting up in the morning, jumping online, doing some sessions, going back, having something to eat, going back online. And in those times in between, just began to look at opportunities. And I noticed that there were a lot of things going on. I dabbled into quite a few of them. Some did work, some did not. But the Bible says that you try so many ventures. Ecclesiastes, I can't remember the chapter. I think about chapter 12, where it talks about you venture into so many things. You don't know which one will. Yeah. So that was the story. But what I know then was God was always leading. There are times I wouldn't say that every opportunity was prayed and fasted and all of that, but I kept being drawn back onto the online space. I had opportunities with clients out of the country. I opened up another channel within the tuition business, which was good and which I never thought would be and would have been available or something that we could do. Through it all, it was just a leading. I didn't realize then that it was God. I just felt there was more. There was something out there. There was something. I try things and for a short while, I don't feel that fulfillment. But when I started this business, I had the intention to do some more travel when my younger, he's going to be 20 this month.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Where does the time go?
I know. I wanted to do something that would keep me, and I'd always say this, just not getting into mischief. I didn't want to be on my husband's head all the time, so I thought I needed to do something. So travel was on the cards, or was one of the things that I thought I would do. But then I thought about, how do I fund this passion? I needed to fund the passion.
Yeah.
And at that time, one of my previous clients, Natalie, a shout out to Natalie, she just sent me a random text. And I'm thinking, Lord, why is she sending me a text at this time? September is my birth month. So I'd normally take time out. My New Year starts in September. So I'll take time out just to have out, pray, the plans. The Bible says you should commit your plans to God and He will establish your steps. So I'd normally do that. So it was in October, just after that, I got that text and I'm thinking, Lord, what are you saying? So I decided, okay, I'll find out about this.
Yeah.
Jumped on the call, and all throughout that night, I was just saying, I was waking up and saying to my husband, oh, it costs. I was just going on and on about it. And I thought, yeah, I would give it a year, counting the cost, put pen to paper, and just decided to go for it. And within those 12 months, oh my goodness,
changed.
God has been so good.
Yeah. Before we get to that part, I want to ask you a question. So what was your biggest, you said you tried a few things here and there, some worked, some didn't work. What was your biggest business failure, and how did you turn that around, or how did that affect you?
Okay. There was a venture that I decided to go into. This was also an online business, and it cost an arm and a leg. I'm not going to say how much it did cost on here, but it was a venture that you'd had to get money.
Yeah.
So ventured into it and thought, okay, within, of course, the same period of time, a year, that I would be able to have turned that money over and get back to where we were. But it just didn't move. It was to do with social media marketing.
Okay.
Tried, did all the ads. I'm not going to, the business is still there, but I'm not going to expend a lot of energy paying more on ads and keep adding on the money. So I just left it. So that for me was, and this happened just after COVID, just after COVID. And my husband was, which was why when I told him about this, the first question he asked me, how much would it cost?
I don't blame you. I can tell you that my husband has been through the same thing, because I started one venture after the other. Yeah. But you just have to try. I think you just have to keep going.
I actually believe that if you don't venture, nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you don't step out, you wouldn't know at the end of the day. I can sit here and say that now, but maybe about 5 years ago, COVID was in 2020, maybe about 5 years ago, I would not say that, because I was where I was. That's what I've known for years. Yeah, there was no opportunity to venture into anything else, because thank God it's put food on the table for those number of years. But now I can categorically say that if you feel led to try something, of course, counting the cost is important. That is what I can say that I probably did better this time around. Looked at the cost, put pen to paper, what it will cost me in a year. If it's something that I can, then yes, if it doesn't happen, but thank God it did work out, and it's still working. So I am grateful. Yeah.
Thank God for that. So did you ever have any self-doubt? This isn't something new, especially when I feel like when you're going into something new, for me, let me speak for myself. I get to points where I'm thinking, oh my God, can I actually do this thing? Who actually asked me to do this? Because sometimes you hit some road bumps. So did you ever have any self-doubt along the way? Of course.
I'd signed the dotted line in November of 2023. And for about 5 to 6 weeks, I just sat on and I was just thinking, what did I do? How do I share this? This is something completely new. I've never done any other business apart from the private tuition business. How do I begin to tell people? Where do I start from? So I sat on. I, of course, doubted myself. In fact, there were a lot of lies that were going through my head. What will people say? People will call you a jack of all trade. What's education got to do with travel? How are you going to advertise? All sorts of questions, all sorts of thoughts, all sorts of doubts. Yes, of course, lots and lots of them. Yeah, so it's normal. Yeah.
So how did you get yourself out of that? Because people need to know how
because
we all face, for me, it's basically imposter syndrome all the time. I'm like, this is stuff for you. Move on to something else. But how did you handle self-doubt? And
what I did, the first thing, because of course what we tend to tell ourselves, not anymore anyway, is until it works for me, I'm not going to share with anybody else. That was my thinking then. So I decided to trial it out on us as a family. So we booked our first holiday in December. I'd noticed that the price, because we'd already booked on booking.com, and then I'd looked at one of the suppliers in our business, and I found out that, gosh, I am £112 better than what I would have paid for. So I quickly cancelled what I had already reserved and then used the business and booked our hotel. And then when I got back, I also got commission paid. So I was £112 better. I also got commission, so I could not stop sharing. So that was for me
a no-brainer.
Was a no-brainer. So I began to share about the business. I began to say, I tried and tested it. It's worked. This is what I have found out. So that was my number one breakthrough. And then the second thing, God is so good. The second was a friend of mine does a lot of races. She travels, she does marathons all over the world. So I just said to her, I said, girlfriend, your girlfriend started a new business. When you're going away you need to be booking from me.
Yeah.
And her first reaction was, excuse me, how comes I can't book? And how comes I cannot earn the commission to my own pocket myself? So I said, if you want to do that, you're going to have to start the business as well. And he said, let's do it. And I just thought, oh my goodness, just like that.
Just like that.
So I earned my first business partner. But I believe what God was trying to tell me or was trying to show me is this is going to happen with ease. And that has been the case from now.
From then on.
Yeah.
Okay. So now tell us more about this business. And exactly, you said there's so many lessons that you've learned. So tell us the whole journey and all the lessons that you've learned along the way.
The number one lesson, which I've been going on and on about, is never say never. I am one who would just focus on one thing and just keep doing it as long as it is working. But now, honestly, I am of the opinion that if you don't venture out, you wouldn't know what's out there or what the next thing is. Yeah. So this business has an element of network marketing to it. So there's two areas where you can earn from the business. And when I started the business, I wasn't aware that much of that side of the business. So I was going to just do with travel. That was all I wanted to. But then I'd sat in some of the sessions and I'd heard people share their testimonies and their stories, and I'm thinking, if they can do it, I can do it as well. And then I began to share. If you had said to me 2 years ago, oh, Shola, you're going to be involved in a business that involves network marketing, out of ignorance, because I didn't know, I've had to educate myself, I would have said never. But now it's never say never.
What I have learned. Before you go forward, I just want to, sorry to interrupt you. Why is it that people have this whatever about network marketing?
I was going to, in fact, that was my next next point.
Okay.
It is because, and I'm actually one of them, but not anymore by the grace of God. It's because we don't have the understanding of what network marketing is about. I would have actually said, if you're listening to this as before, not me, I'm a new creation. I'm a brand new man. All things have passed away. Before, I would have said anything to do with network marketing is a pyramid scheme. That was me before. But right now, I have an understanding because I've actually read about 3 books on network marketing just to educate myself and understand, what it is about. If there is a product, then it's not a pyramid scheme. There is a product to the business. There is a product that is being sold. So it isn't. So just to answer the question, education, understanding, developing myself, reading those books, attending the sessions where there is training that happens every morning because I wanted to be able to say, this is it. This is what has happened for me. And it's open to anyone who wants to embrace the opportunity.
Okay. So you were telling us, before I interrupted you, were telling us the lessons you've learned. So the first one was never say never. So
Never say never.
What else?
The second one is learning, understanding. Do not stop learning. Just keep learning, keep improving yourself. So that was for me number 2. What I did not know, I couldn't benefit from. So I didn't know anything about anything to do with network marketing. To me, was a pyramid scheme, but not anymore. Personal development, learning is important. Okay. And number 3 is just engage in whatever. There will be tough, there will be hard times, but just stay focused. Just keep your focus on whatever it is that you've decided to do. I made up my mind in around, I think, the first event that I went to, face-to-face event. We actually attended one together that you go to. And then I remember at that event, I said to myself, I am going to set myself a target. So, of course, set yourself a target and put the work in. So I set myself a goal, although my goal was to become a director by the end of the year, December of 2024. But it happened 4 days after, on the 4th of January, 2025. Ooh. So I am so grateful. I am so super grateful to God for that. And like I said, I set myself that goal and then just began to plot and work with. And this was done by the community as well, because you can't really get there by yourself. You can, but it would take a bit longer. But just investing into the team and just making sure that people are also growing. And we do have a team called the Growing Team, and that's come from that. You just plug yourself in, work, support people so that we can grow.
So now you're a director. So now that you're a director, and after all the challenges you faced, what does success feel like?
It feels like you put your plow to the ground and not looking back. So just digging your heels in. Just before we actually got to, and I use we because I'm not just, it's like a community thing. Before we got there, there was a lot of, I don't want to call it drama, but there was a lot of contention. Yeah. But I remember this was around October and November, around that time. I was, Lord, what exactly are you saying? Because it was unexpected. Yeah. We had an incident. My husband had a major operation, and then I had to take a bit of time out so I can I was his sole carer and children are not at home. So it dawned on me that, oh my goodness,
back to the beginning.
Shola, exactly. So I had to take a bit of time off doing the business. And I think some of our team members did not really understand why that would be the case. But I had to go back to basics, priority my family first. There was a bit of a backlash. There was a lot of resistance. But I then went to God, and God just gave me a word. And that word was what saw me through the weeks and the months to come. He said to me, Shola, Exodus 14:14, hold your peace. Just calm down. There might be situations whereby you need to defend yourself, but just calm down. And that was what I had to do. Sometimes kicking and screaming. I'm thinking that message, I need to respond. But then I'd hear the Holy Spirit say to me, hold your peace, girl, calm down. And we went through all of that. And then God actually gave us the victory in the end. And so right now it is a case of this has happened. Who's next within the team? So that's the strategy. Who's next? So anybody who's ready to rock and roll, I'm ready. We're ready.
We're ready. So success looks like what? You mentoring people? Or?
Yes, of course, because this is not just a case where Shola is, no, there's going to be a lot more. So for me, my goal now, success is the next director. So within the next, I would say 6 months, depends on the person. I would like to have another director in training. Absolutely, just building people up and helping people also become directors as they want to. Yeah.
So what would you say is your number one survival strategy? Or what would you say should be the number one survival strategy for an entrepreneur, especially in this day of AI? AI taking over everything. What should be the number one survival strategy?
I do have an acronym that I always walk by. I've done this for a number of years, and it's GROW, which GROW means to me, you'd have to have a goal that you're working towards. So there has to be a goal that you're working towards. It doesn't matter. People call it intention. It could be anything. What is it that you want to achieve? And then the R is the resources. Look for resources that would help you get through. So it could be a friend. I do have working partners. Just look for resources. So it could be books, it could be people. Find the resources that you need. It could be AI, it could be ChatGPT. Yep. Look for the resources that would help you. And then the O is just organize your time, organize yourself. You could actually just sit behind that, being an entrepreneur, and just organize yourself, organize your resources, organize your day, organize your space. And then the W is put the work in. Yeah, so set the goal, get the resources, organize yourself, and just work.
So I wanted to take you up on the first two things I want to take you up on. Organizing of time. In this world now, there's so much noise. You have your Instagram, you have the TikTok. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and the first thing is a message on Instagram, and you have to remind yourself, read your Bible first. Yes. Put that Instagram thing away for now. There's so much noise. There's so many opportunities out there. So how can you give us practical tips as to how to organize your time and what you have done to organize your time?
It's hard. So it's really, really hard. So what I have done, and of course having accountability partners as well. So say, for example, the phone is miles away from the bedside table because, of course, that's the first thing. So where it's charging is miles away. And of course, you get up, you pick it up, and then the husband is looking at you as in, oh, what did we say? Stuff like that. So having accountability partners. So just putting things in place. So the phone is miles away. So you can still get that quiet time in the morning. And then also over the course of the day, I do have a list of things that I need to do. So say, for example, I would write a list of things that I need to do, trivial things, important things, just have a list and walk through or down that list. And then I do have breaks in between where I go onto my social media because I'm not sure I would be able to just do that and not, because I would not be focused as I should. So there would be breaks in between whereby, and then I set myself, sometimes I get rid of the alarm, but just so that I'm not sitting there and just an hour's gone, 2 hours gone, which used to be the case before. Yeah. But then I do have like alarms that would then jolt me out, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, and then just put it away and get my head down because there's nobody there to say, oh, do the work or don't do the work. So those are some of the practical things that some days are better than others, but in most cases, that's what I tend to do with regards to just putting my head down and being focused. Yeah.
One of what you just said about your husband giving you a look. Yeah. Just reminds me of my husband. He's so disciplined. Every night he leaves his phone downstairs and goes up to bed. And he doesn't go back for his phone until when the day is fully set and he's done every other thing he needs to do first. Before. And I'm thinking, how can you be so disciplined?
Wow.
And I keep saying to him, I need my phone for the alarm. And there's this old alarm here. Which that's what he uses. Be like me, use this. I'm like, it's a struggle.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
It is tough.
It is tough.
But it's good what you've just said. Make a list and then just prioritize and just walk through the list.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing I wanted to ask you about. What about people? How do you manage people? How do you deal with all kinds of people? Because you have different types of people.
Yeah.
So when you're in a business like this, how do you manage with all the different types of people that you come across every day? Some will step on your toes and you're thinking, okay, this person I could just...
Yeah.
So how do you deal with them?
I guess with experience, I'm a teacher by profession. So, of course, I've actually had to deal with all different categories of children. I remember back in the day, I used to say to myself, oh, I can deal with children, grown-ups, forget it. But as time goes on, I've got to have to deal with the parents, isn't it? What I tend to do is and I've also read, quite a number of books talking about personalities and how to compartmentalize people. So I have a very wide network of people. I have friends. But then once I understand how you are, then it helps me to decide, where the boundary, just understand. I'll give an example. So say, for example, I might have friends. I hope no one is thinking I'm talking about them, but I do have some friends that when we meet over a period of time, we just start from where we've stopped. So it's not a matter of, I haven't heard from you in ages. And then I have a catalogue of other friends that it's, gosh, we haven't heard from you for a while. So just understanding where people are, I kind of relate. So it would be a matter of if it was in the past, and of course with age and experience, you'd say, I'm really sorry, work is so busy, don't worry, I would send you a text and I'll just make a mental note and then just do that, and then that's sorted. So it's just knowing where people are at and just trying to relate with them from there, rather than trying to be defensive all the time, which is what I used to be, but not anymore by the grace of God. So just understanding. My dad used to say something when we were younger. He used to say that the best place to be is always to be nice. As long as it is in your power. I know there's a scripture that says, make peace with all men. So I also adopt that as well, which is why I'd always smile. I'd always, as much as I possibly can, so that they know, because I really love peace. And so over the years, sis, just relate with people based on their person. You'd obviously know. And God has a fantastic sense of humor. I've got 2 kids, young people now. Gosh. Yeah. And they're 2 extremes. Yeah. So, of course, I have to be able to relate with the both of them where they are at. And that has also helped. You'd notice I'm always using children as an example because they're my world. Yeah. I've had to deal with. And, of course, those children become adults. Yeah. And
it changes when they become adults too. Yeah. The dynamics. Yeah. I wanted to ask you something about network marketing and friendship, because I've found that over the years, network marketing seems to have sometimes, when it's not handled correctly, a negative impact on friendship, because you're a network marketer, you want to sell what you're trying to sell or whatever product it is, and you're calling this friend up, calling that friend up, texting this one, and sometimes it does lead to animosity, sometimes it leads to people getting frustrated and upset. So how do you handle that? Because that, for me, I think is a big issue with network marketing. Yeah,
what I decided from the get-go when I wanted to begin to venture into that side of the business was that I was just going to share. And my sharing was, and I'm just going to do this probably once, and my sharing is, I've found out something new. And I just want to see whether this is of interest to you. And if yes, there is an opportunity to hear it or to find out about it, and just point them in that direction. If anything comes out of it, fine. If nothing comes out of it, that's fine. Nothing would affect our friendship. So I made that decision right from the onset because of previous experiences where, not necessarily network marketing, but you've found out something and you've shared it. But of course, the experience that you had with that was not the experience that person had. And that would cost, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I wish I didn't share this, or like a product or like a service, and it didn't go well for that person. So I made up my mind. That was the approach, and that's what I have decided to. But then I keep sharing. I keep sharing, as in sharing virtually rather than individually. So that's what I have done. And I've got a lot of my friends that are not part of the business, but would still come to me and ask me to book their holidays, and I'm happy to do that. And I'd also say to them that you might be earning, it could have been you earning this commission, but I'm happy to earn it on your behalf. Just sarcastic because we're friends.
Yeah.
Yes, I did make up my mind right from the beginning that I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
So how do you deal with friends who know that you have a travel business, who know that you could do it for them and help get them something maybe better than what they could get out there, and who will still go ahead and book outside and come and say to you, oh yeah, I just booked my holiday, yeah, somewhere else. How do you deal with that?
If they dare come to me and say that I just booked my holiday somewhere else, I'm just going to say to them, do you know what? Good luck. But I just say to them, oh, it seems as if you're forgetting something. Your girlfriend here has a travel business, could have actually booked that holiday for you.
Yep.
So next time, but that does not change anything.
Yeah.
I'm sure they know me well enough, but I will make sure that I express my dissatisfaction in a nice way so that next time they won't make the same, hopefully they won't make the same mistake. But honestly, it's okay because there are so many other people that are blessing us and buying up their travel from us. So it's okay. Yeah. Maybe if it wasn't that case, I probably would have actually been grilling them and saying,
I think should be okay. If they do buy from you, good. If they don't, good. The friendship should shouldn't be affected because of that. Friendship should just remain the same. So what inspired you to start dancing on Instagram? Because you became the dancing queen on Instagram.
I think we need to see that one time.
Don't worry, I definitely will.
The video will be up on Facebook and on YouTube.
Oh my goodness.
For all of you who don't know, that's Alex, my tech guy.
Oh yeah.
Chipping in there.
Oh my God, Alex. Oh, okay. What happened was, I remember, like I said, how the first business partner or how the first person who patronized the business came through was just with ease, which I believe was God just giving me a pat on the shoulder that, girl, you know what, just go for it. You can do this. So because it happened like that, the excitement, so I just decided to just do a dance. And I remember it was just in gratitude to God. Thank you, thank you. We started this, and within this time, there's a sale. I did that. And I remember the feedback from there. And I'll share a story. One of my previous clients, I taught her children, 3 of her children did go through the center, and they're quite big now. One of them actually sent a message to their mom and said, oh, did you see Miss Shola was dancing all over Instagram? I hope she's okay. Mom sent me a message and said, oh, Miss Shola, I'm not going to mention his name. My son just sent me a message from uni that he saw you dancing all over. In fact, he did send the link. And she said, oh, and his question was, is everything okay? And I said to Mom, that was an opportunity to also prospect Mom. And I said, and she's a part of the business now. Okay. And I said to her, oh, bless. I mentioned his name. I said, it's good to know that they actually have Miss Shola. I'm absolutely fine. I'd just started a new venture, and I just had my first sale, or maybe the second one, I can't remember. And I just dance about it because I'm so grateful that I started something new. And all of a sudden, what I thought before was, this is what I know. I can't venture out of this. And now this is happening. So it's just from a place of gratitude to God and excitement as well. Okay. So that, because it got attention, I just thought, this is the strategy. Yeah. So I better keep dancing.
Good. Yeah. You became the dancing queen.
I've got a good question coming up.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a good question. How do you combine faith and business, and has it shaped your decision making?
Absolutely, yes. I believe that even before the business is my faith. That's who I am. So I do not make decisions without consulting with God first. As I said, I started this business because I felt after I was in a time with God, after my birthday, this person reached out to me and I decided to give it a go. I didn't hear, God did not come and say, oh, this one or that one, but I just felt the leading of the Holy Spirit. So for me, my faith is the most important thing, and then my business afterwards. Because at the end of the day, it is God that gives us the grace and the ability and the know-how and the strength and everything to structure all out. So for me, it's God first. Yeah.
So we're fast coming to the end of the podcast. I don't know where the time goes, but I have one question I wanted to ask you. So what's one piece of advice you wish you had or had known when you started? One piece of advice.
Don't stop. Just keep going. Just keep going. As I said, I sat on the business for about 6 weeks before I'd started anything. What I would say to anyone is leverage on what is available. Leverage on those who have already made a success out of the business, and just go. Don't stop. Yeah, and keep moving.
Keep moving, don't stop.
Yeah. Keep on moving, don't stop.
Keep on moving, don't stop. I don't know. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's keep on moving, don't stop.
Don't stop
now or something. Yeah.
Don't stop now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And so you've more or less done what I was going to ask you to do, but I'm still going to ask because we always like to end the podcast on a note of hope. So for anybody out there who's listening, who's thinking, you know what, I'm tired of what I'm doing. I'm tired of my 9 to 5. I'm looking for something different to do. There's so many options out there. Can you just say something that would encourage people out there? Just some kind of note of hope. Yeah.
Okay. What I would say is whatever you feel, the promptings in your heart, just go in that direction. Do not give up. Look for, like I'd said, grow by looking for someone who can actually help you start or move forward. Don't suffer in silence. Just take one step and keep moving forward.
Yeah. But if there's so many, for somebody like me, where there's so many options, opportunities, how would you advise somebody out there who has so many things?
Start with one. Just start with one. Not doing, because sometimes when we have so much in us, that could also be something that would hold us back.
Yeah.
But just start with something. And when you start with something, and you begin to move, and then the other things will begin to fall in place. So just start with something. Start with one thing.
Start with one thing.
Start with one thing.
So start with one thing.
Yeah.
Grow.
Yeah.
And don't stop. Keep moving.
Don't stop. Keep moving. And the last thing that I would say is look for someone as an accountability partner, because sometimes it's tough when you're there by yourself. We need people. So look for someone, that can actually point you in the right direction. So don't go on your own. Look for somebody that will, because of course the wind would blow, the storm would come, but you need somebody to help you during those times. So don't go on your own.
Yeah, somebody you're cheering you on and saying, keep
going
like you're doing for the growing
team.
So
yes.
Loudly cheering everybody on. And that's really beautiful to see. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's been really interesting and very nice to have you on.
Thank you.
And if people want to get in touch with you, want to know more about this opportunity that you're talking about, how can they get in touch with you and what?
On Instagram, if you just Google Shola Alabi, I'm sure Shola with a H, there would be quite a few bits that come up. But you can find me on Instagram at Lady Shoals Travels.
Okay, can you spell that, please? The Shoals, so that people don't spell the whole thing. So they don't
Lady Lady,
okay,
and then SHOLZ and Travels TRAVELS.
Okay, Lady Shoals.
Lady Shoals Travels.
Okay, we will put all the information in the show notes. So if anybody wants to contact you to talk about the travel, you want to share with them, they can get in touch with you.
Thank you.
And you can do it that way. Thank you so much. And hopefully we'll have you on here sometime soon. And if you're out there and you've enjoyed this, please share the episode with your friends and family. Please subscribe to our podcast. We're on Spotify, we're on Buzzsprout, we're on YouTube, we're on Apple, we're all over. Podshare. So please share and subscribe. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll have you again with us sometime soon. Take care. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining me today on Navigating the Chapters of Challenge. Your time means the world to me, and I hope today's episode inspired and encouraged you. If you enjoyed this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends, family, or anyone who could use a little hope and encouragement. You can find our podcast on Spotify, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you love listening to podcasts. Want to support the show? It's easy. Just click the support button on Buzzsprout, and any contribution, big or small, helps us keep bringing you stories and insights that matter. And don't forget to check out our latest book, Navigating the Chapters of Challenge from Trials to Triumph, available now on Amazon. It's packed with inspiration and practical wisdom to help you navigate life's storms. We'd also love to hear from you. If you have a story to share, an idea, or just want to say hi, feel free to reach out. Your voice matters, and who knows, your story might just inspire our next episode. Thanks again for listening. Stay strong, stay inspired, and I'll see you on the next episode.